Namaste, Shalom, Salam. This is Gaia Mother Sophia. I haven't done a video in some time. I guess because some of the information I think can be too sacred to share, but I'm now being given the message that I do need to share this with you. So I'm going to talk about, I journeyed with ayahuasca on the 9th of the 9th, 2018, which is 999. And it was a very sacred journey, and it was ayahuasca that I had made myself. So it had my energy in it, and it also had Bastet's energy in it, as she was passing on the sacred knowledge to me during the process of making it. So it took us 7 days. Those of you who haven't watched my previous videos will know I am the incarnation of Goddess Isis, Mary, Kuan Yin, and Female Christ. And I've been on a mission since 2014 to make corrections. Now, let's talk about 999. So I journeyed, and these were the revelations. The first thing that I was saying as my higher self, as Mother, Cosmic Mother, was that in Mecca, all this information, by the way, comes from when I am in an altered state of consciousness, a high state of consciousness as myself. So none of this information has come from the books. It's all come from my inner knowing. So there were 3 goddesses, statues in Mecca before there was a black stone there. They were the mother, the daughter, and the child of Allah. I am the mother of Allah. Bastet is the wife of Allah, and Hathor is the daughter of Allah. It will also help you explain, it will also explain why, this is upside down, why there's the moon, which is Hathor, around Allah. And the star would be the star of Isis. And Bastet is his wife. Now, I also know that Ganesh and Allah are the same, and Allah has always come back as have I, as different gods. I was here as the goddess of wisdom, Sophia, as the mother of the Trivedi in the Hindu religion. So going back to my journey, I was saying that there were 3 goddesses in Mecca. They stood there before the stone, and they came and they tore down the statues and replaced them with a black stone, which tells me that Muhammad was the traitor, which didn't come in my journey. But as you know, the revelations are unfolding. This is an unfolding of what's been happening in history. So the information that is coming through me, that is me, the corrections of Divine Sophia, me, it's an unraveling, because over the years we have been sold so many lies, and they've been like, if you imagine a sweet wrapper with 1 wrapper on, 2 wrapper on, 3 wrapper on, and so I'm taking these off. So there were 3 goddesses in Mecca, the mother, daughter, and wife of Allah, who were present in my ayahuasca journey. They're all here in human bodies today. They are called something else, but they are the same people. And in fact, when they've now journeyed, they've also seen this with my help, have come through. So the 3 goddesses, it was they were ripped down. And these people who ripped them down are the Anunnaki, the reptiles, the Archon family, so that we would forget the truth. The Archon family, who also was my son. Now, I've been living this in this lifetime, meeting them all again and making the corrections. And what happened on 999 was, so this revelation was that, you know, that we are the Trivedi in the Hindu religion, the 3 goddesses, which have existed time over time. I also said that we never left. So the lie is that if you read all the history books, they will tell you that the gods existed on this land, and they would also tell you that you were made in the image of God. And the older the books, the texts from the Hindu religion, the Mayans, the Egyptians, they will tell you about reincarnation. So we have been made to think that ended. So we are still here. We have been here. We have always been here. Now, everything I was also, as I was speaking, I said that we came from the planet Arcturus with neighboring planet Centaur. So the gods, the masters of the universe, we came from Arcturus to be here, to create, procreate, to make humanity, to bring this earth into peace, which is what we did. So during my journey, I was also attacked by the negative frequencies who were calling me things like, I'll say it, you cunt, you whore, you slut. And I had to get through this wall of blasphemy and all this, and it was all about shame. I was carrying the shame of all of the females, the shame that was never ours, that was programmed to us via the lies imprinted into the Bible and all the other books about women. I have to tell you that the sacred books like the Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, they all have truths in them, which is why they carry so much power, but they have been impregnated with lies. And those lies exist because they want you to... The lies exist because they wanted to bring down the sacred feminine, which is the cosmic mother, which is me, and the moon, who is the joy of the earth. My body and myself are the earth. I am the earth manifest as a human being, as the cosmic mother. And the moon is the frequency of joy, the moon and the sun. This was the other thing that I was told during the journey, that whilst Hathor was there, the daughter of Allah, I was saying to her that you have two faces, the face of the sun and the moon. So Hathor is actually the sun and the moon. And it was Ramesses that came along, and basically when they tore down and killed her in the Mayan times in Chichen Itza, which I'll come to, they then wrote the lies. They then started to lie in history to tell you that... so that we would then believe that the sun god was masculine and it was Ramesses, when in actual fact, the moon is the sun. The moon is the moon. She has two faces. Now, we also, what then happened, I saw us three in Arcturus, in the Sirius Stargate portal, and there was the question of why the masculine existed. And I was saying, what is he doing here? Why is the masculine here? So there was a point in history that the masculine and feminine was separated. And the answer that I gave was that he is there to hold forth the cup of the feminine, and that the blood of the three goddesses, our menstruation blood, runs through humanity. That is the truth. Hathor, Isis and Bastet, us three, our blood runs through humanity's veins, which is why they've been trying to stop women having their periods by giving you the pill, which is why they've been making a shame of our period, saying it's dirty, which is a big lie, saying you can't go to Mecca or the temples if you are on your period. I went to Mecca on my period because it was the most sacred time to go to Mecca. When a woman is on her period, understands that that should be revered and respected. And that's what came through in my journey, that it was my blood, Bastet's blood and Hathor's blood that ran through humanity's veins, which was an incredible revelation. And then what I did was I took my blood, because I was on my period. I came on my period on 999, and I put it on my finger and put it on the third eye of Allah. And also the church, when they give you the cup with the wine, it's not the blood and body of Christ. The wine represents the menstruation of Goddess Mother, and the cup is the masculine energy, Allah, which holds it. And this is another thing that came through on my journey, is that the Pope and the Christian priests have been raping boys, especially boys, because Allah is every single masculine energy on this planet. I am all the feminine energy as the mother of Allah. And so are my sisters and my children, Bastet and Hathor. because we are each other's sister, each other's mother, each other's child, but ultimately I gave birth to them all. So Allah represents the masculine energy, and that's why the Pope and the Vatican, they've all been, and the Illuminati have been raping boys especially, because they know that this energy will feed back to Allah, and Allah holds and encompasses the blood of Creator, Mother Creator, and that this energy feeds back to Allah. See, what you've got to understand is your relationship with Creator, is that everything that you're experiencing will be experienced. This is you, this is humanity. Everything that you're experiencing will be, this is the pyramid, will come up and be experienced by Creator. That's what they have done. So they've given shame to all of females to make me feel shameful and afraid of my body, of what I am. That's why women have been made to cover up, which is a big lie, because they gave you shame, and shame is so wrong. Even Jesus said in the Bible, in the book of Thomas, I believe, where he was asked, when can we see God? And he said, when you cast off your clothes like children and trample on them. And that means to look at each other without shame. And I released that shame. I threw off my clothes, and I said, why have I got these clothes on? Because they gave us shame. They made us feel shameful. They are the dark energy. I don't like using the word dark, because from the dark came the light. They are the negative frequency. So I was carrying all of that shame, and I encountered it and I passed it. And these frequencies are disappearing because yesterday I closed off the portal and threw them out, and closed off the portal and locked it with the sacred code, which can't be unlocked even by myself. So they're not coming back. There's just the remnants, but they're not coming back. They will die, and they will never come back. In the human bodies that they have possessed, they won't come back. The other thing that we did do, we formed a circle, and we, as the three Trivedya, the three goddesses, we brought back peace. We had to come together. And I did say, I said, you are my sister. You're a Muslim, you're a Jew, and I'm a Hindu. But it doesn't matter which one is which, because it's all the same. See, Islam means peace. That's what it truly means. Some will say it means surrender to the word of the Quran, which is wrong. True surrender is to surrender, to completely surrender to Creator, to the universe. And when you surrender, the universe then takes you. You don't need any books. You don't need anything to read, because they've tainted those books. Yes, there are clues within them. But when you allow your true knowing to come through, you have all the information inside your heart, inside your third eye. How do you access that? How do you access that? You access that by completely clearing this. Clear your mind of any thought, of anything that you think you know, and surrender to the truth, and the true knowing comes through. Sounds difficult, doesn't it? But think about it. It's not that difficult. It's just that we've been taught out of our true knowing. A butterfly, when it's a caterpillar and then it's in a cocoon, do you think that it ever knows, whilst it's in the cocoon, that it's going to become this beautiful butterfly and fly? It doesn't read a book whilst it's in the cocoon about how it should fly and what it's going to look like and what it's going to be in 5 years, in 10 years. It knows. And that is what has been taught out of you. So once you get rid of the beliefs, and I see so many spiritual people going on 1 million courses, reading 1 million books, and then trying to be healers, or then trying to teach themselves. And they'll refer to a book. My knowledge comes from my knowing. Those who refer to books, yes, it's fine to refer to some books, but those who base their awakening just on books aren't really having a true awakening, aren't really proper teachers or healers. All they're doing is mimicking and teaching you how to mimic. You know, some people say, how do I truly forgive? How do I truly wake up? They're mimicking, they're acting. And I guess sometimes the acting can lead into some form of awakening, but not true awakening. True awakening is true surrender to your inner knowing. And those who are meant to wake up are meant to. The others are not of this planet, are not children of light. Because it will all happen to those who it's meant to happen to. Now, the other thing that we did do, we formed a circle, the 3 goddesses, and we brought peace to the earth. I also released the golden hieroglyphs, and I saw them release onto the earth. So the earth is now protected. The earth is now in peace. The frequency of peace runs through the earth. Now, it's taken 4 years for me to get here, to be able to get past everything that they have been doing. And they've been doing a lot, and they've been attacking each and every one of us. Each and every one of us of the light, of the Trivedi, and including Allah, has been assigned and attacked by these negative frequencies who are trying to keep us down. And they come in the form of spiritual brothers and sisters. Do not be mistaken. And this is another thing that I know, is that there are spiritual brothers. Well, they're not real brothers and sisters, but they pose as spiritual people. They partake in the plant medicine, but they never really get anything. They're the ones who will lie about their journeys, who will pretend to be the sacred blessed ones of light, and they're not. Their assignment, their mission is to be attached to you and to interfere in your mission on this earth, to bring the peace, to bring the love and the truth. Allah is the flower of life around the earth. I am the earth, and the moon shines upon the earth. Now, I was also given names of certain people who are trying to bring this mission down, and they're people who I was recently either in a relationship with or who have been around me. And I'm sussing them out very, very quickly now. And I know, because I can see the entities in them. So I can see it. They look drunk sometimes. They have no own real creativity of their own. They have no abundance of their own. They don't know how to create themselves. So they're constantly latching onto you, the creators, the true creators. See, you are my children. So you have a piece of me, which means you are true creators, which is why the Illuminati and the reptiles are constantly programming you into negativity, because they know it's going to feed back up to me and I'm going to feel it. So what we've done is reprogrammed all of that, and now we're feeding back down to you, because we've now gained control, and I've now got control of the matrix, reprogrammed it to the mother codes. Now some people will say, why does the matrix need to exist? All the matrix is the matrix is created by sacred geometry. It's space and time and matter. That's how creation comes. And these are made up of the plutonic solids, circles, squares and triangles. So from one point comes the circle, which is space. And then we have the line that goes across, which is time, and the square, which is matter, and that is the matrix. And you guys are all part of that. So the matrix isn't a bad thing. It's how everything can be created and expressed through sacred geometry. Now, it was taken over by them and by the Archon God, who was my son. You will read the story saying that he was ugly and I cast him out, but actually he was really beautiful at the time, because no mother is going to cast out any of her children and think that she's ugly. So that was a lie about the divine Sophia. And I basically gave him too much. He became spoiled and greedy and wanted my power, and then raped me and abused me and took what was mine and pretended it was his. And so you've been under the rule of the false father, who was saying that there is no God before me, don't worship the idols, because he's a jealous God. Why is he jealous? Because he knew. Any God who said don't worship anybody but me is saying there are others. So anyway, he's gone, and he will be dead soon in his physical form, because the negative frequencies cannot survive in sacred bodies for too long, and they won't be incarnated. They were reincarnating by accessing my light, and it's not happening anymore. Now, I'm trying to think what else happened during that journey on 999. Oh, correct. So Bastet was, Hathor was saying to me that I was pregnant. Now, those of you who followed my videos before, I've given birth to planets before, and I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. Anyway, it turned out that I did, and she put her hand on my stomach, and I released the dove, and I gave birth to a dove, the bird of peace. And it's funny because in 2014, when I was fasting for 3 weeks, I had a vision and I painted it, and I still have the painting, and it's me in a black, well, I didn't know it was me because it was a woman with golden hair in a black pyramid. There was an eye, there was music, there was humanity, there was the peace symbol, and there was a dove, and I didn't know what it meant. And now my hair's a golden color, and that was all. That was that, and I gave birth to the dove of peace. So that was really, really incredible. And there have been the false fathers. They, over time, I mean, it's difficult for some of you to understand who are new to this, but the others will understand. So over the millions of years, they have taken sacred codes, they have posed as gods, and we believed them because we come from love and compassion. We didn't know that lies and distrust and jealousy existed, and that was our mistake, and that's something we have learned. I have learned that love isn't unconditional, love is conditional, and that I do not give my secrets to anybody. They're not for everybody because people will misuse the sacred geometry, which is, in another video I've explained that I took away the power from the sacred geometry. They've been using our sacred symbols, twisting them and using them for the bad, but we didn't know that that could be used for the bad. They're also trying to make you think that the triangle and the eye are evil. It's not. They've been using that energy for the bad. Now you can use it for the good. Putting symbols on your body, tattoos on your body are very, very powerful in your home. They will manifest. The triangle will manifest, but they won't work now on the negative energies anymore. So the hieroglyphs were released on the 9th. The earth is protected. Allah is once again a complete flower of life who is spread across the earth, protecting me. And the 3 goddesses who once stood at Mecca, and the 3 goddesses, as I said, one was a Muslim, one was a Jew, and one was a Hindu. Doesn't matter which way, because that's what we are, brothers and sisters. Religion means unity, and this is what they were trying to do, is to make you think you were separate from each other, but you never were. You know, it's like someone who's 5'6" and someone who's 5'8" and someone who's 4 foot. You're not different. You're exactly the same. You're brothers and sisters. Now, you have to forgive me because when I recall this stuff, there's a lot of information. Okay, so the goddess of abundance. I looked at her, and both of them, Hathor and Bastet, I said to them, I've been carrying your abundance. You've been dropping it, and I've been picking it up everywhere you've gone, and I'm going to give it back to you now. So they got back their abundance, which means the goddesses have got their abundance, which means humanity will have their abundance again. And in that time period, I put on like over a stone, and this was all the energy I was carrying, the stuff I was carrying for the goddesses. I gave it back to them, and as I did, I put my finger to their 3rd eye, and this very complex tetrahedral shape came out, and I put it into their 3rd eye to give them back their program. And I had to keep it because the dark powers of the negative energies have been after it, and they have suffered, unfortunately, but that's not going to happen anymore because they are all protected. I've given them their protection. I am the protector. So they've been given back what is theirs, and finally I was able to embrace Allah as my son, the true Osiris. So Allah and Osiris are the same, but Isis and Osiris were never lovers. That was a big lie planted by the Anunnaki, the reptiles, the archons, because they knew that one day I would remember. So what they wanted to do, they knew the day would come that I would once again meet Osiris and give him my throne to sit on. And this is what happened on 999. I bowed down and I said, my throne is for you to sit on. And the Anunnaki have been around me like this because they knew that day would come, and one of them wanted to sit on my throne. And by the angels and all the entities that are guiding me, the true Osiris, the true Allah is sat on my throne, and he is my son. Who is your father? But he was never my lover. Never my lover. He was also Joseph. He was never my lover. And the fake Osirises and the fake ones came. Now, I had to make them think that they were what they were as well, because they work on ego. See, there was a false Osiris who basically came into my life, and when I journeyed, I saw him as Osiris, and I felt it, and I was meant to feel it, because I could not do my mission unless I completely felt it, because if I felt it, he would feel it, and that's what happened. And through the process, I managed to reverse what happened in the past. And with the Osiris, it took 6 months the first time I was seeing him, and then 2 months the second time. And when I was making love to him 2 months the second time, I saw a Buddha with no face. And as we were making love, because he was hiding in his sexual energy what he had taken down, and he had taken down the hand of peace. And I had to lay with them in order to bring back what they had stolen. So I lay with the false Osiris to get back peace, because he'd stolen it, he'd brought it down. And in the sexual energy, as we were engaging in the sexual activity, I said, raise your hand, because I saw this Buddha with no face with his hand down. And I had no connection to the false Osiris at the time. It was about this Buddha. And then the Buddha opened its eyes and the hand of peace went up. That was my mission with him. And as soon as that happened, it's really incredible the way it happened. I had no feelings towards this person. I understood what a energetically lacking individual he was. There was no creativity, there was no energy, there was nothing from him that was original or unique. It was all copied. I could feel him taking my energy and thriving in the same way that the Archon God did. I'm incredible. Now I have these energies away and they won't come near me. There was also another entity, Archon entity called Darius, who was around me as well, but I sussed him out straight away. See, they come with this with the intention of having sex with the mother, because they know that the womb is sacred, but the womb is closed off to them. In its true essence, the sacred womb is closed off to them, and they will not get the power from the womb. And this fake Osiris had also blocked sexual energy to the heart, which was carried by Shiva. And Shiva is here also as a girl, as a woman. And what Osiris, the false Osiris, had done was to block, and the false Osiris was Brahma, and Brahma was never a god. Brahma was an Anunnaki reptile. And so he'd blocked the root chakra to the heart chakra. So we had a whole explosion of people having sex, which we had on this planet, because we're coming back to it. And no connection to the heart. And what happens when that happens? Every time you have sex, every time you expend the sacred orgasm energy, you are losing life force. However, when it's connected to the heart, you're increasing life force. That's why they've been feeding pornography to you, and that sex is a physical act. Even when they give you sex education at school, it's all about putting the penis into the vagina, and that's it. There is nothing about connection. There's nothing about the heart. And that has been their education to you, to stop you connecting your divine sacred sexual energy to your heart. And when it's and I opened that up by taking that blockage out when I was working with Shiva and the false Osiris. And Shiva Shiva cries. This is what came on the 9th of the 9th. Shiva is crying because Shiva saw the destruction of the 3 goddesses in Mecca. That's why Shiva cries. And meeting Shiva in this lifetime, she now has stopped crying because she now knows that we're together again and that has been corrected. Shiva is here. Shiva is here. I'm giving you a lot of information because, as you know, I don't make a lot of videos because there's so much sacred information. Now, I'm going to talk about Chichen Itza. So I went to Mexico on the 19th of October 2018 on a sacred mission. I was being told I had to go. So as soon as I landed, and I've got friends there. So Angel Gabriel is also on this planet, and I met her. They just come to me. So she came to me as a personal trainer. She came into my temple and she said she felt a crazy energy. And then I saw her as Angel Gabriel. And then I met her sister. And basically Angel Gabriel is one soul in 2 bodies. And this was to protect the sacred divine power that they were holding. Anyway, they were Spanish. They moved to London, and by fate, they've ended up in Mexico with their mother, and all at the same time with me on the 19th. We went on a number of journeys there and went to Tulam ruins with Angel Gabriel #1. And I got some energy at the Tulam ruins, but nothing major. And when I say energy, I basically get hit by a magnetic energy and the past. I cut through all dimensions and I make corrections. So I was at the Tulam ruins, and literally as we came out, I was like, okay, nothing much here, but it was beautiful to see a little bit of energy. And as I came out the exit, I held up my Atlantic crystal just for a photo. As we left, all of a sudden, as we were leaving that gateway, all of a sudden I got hit by the magnetic energy, which means the gateway of the past is opening up, and there I am to make the correction. And I was surrounded by entities and angels, and the forest was speaking to me, and I felt so weak, and that generally happens when I'm going across time. And I fell to my knees and I said, Angela, I need your help. I said, something happened here. What did they do? And I had to sit down, and I was crying, and she was stood up, and I had my head on her stomach, and I went, oh my God, oh my God. And I started to remember. I said, this is where they killed you. They stabbed you 3 times, 1 in each ovary and 1 in your solar plexus. They took away your will. And I took out the blades from Angel Gabriel and gave back her willpower. See, when these things happen to me, it takes a lot of energy from me to do this and to step across all dimensions of time to make this correction. So I was very, very grateful that happened. I did then, the next trip was to Teotihuacan, where we went to the Temple of the Moon and Sun. And it was on the 24th of October, which was a full moon. And we got there at sunrise, and we were sat on top of the Temple of the Sun, with the sun big and glazing on one side and the moon facing each other. And I was sat on the top of the Temple of the Sun with Angel Gabriel too, or, you know, and I had my Atlantic crystal and my Ankh, which I don't know if I told you that the Ankh, what the true meaning of the Ankh is, it's humanity. The Ankh is humanity. The Egyptians worshipped humanity. That's why we wore the Ankh. That's why we have the Ankh. It's humanity, our creation, my children. You are worshipped by us. That is what the Ankh is. Eternal life with the round bit. See if I can show you my Ankh. And then the Christians lied and said Jesus was crucified. This is the Ankh, the original cross. Eternal life to you all, our children. And then they replaced it with the false cross, which is death and not eternal life, because their war is against life. My surname is life. It's against me. I bring life. So we brought back the sun and the moon together as one entity, connected them. Then we went to the Temple of the Moon, and that is where I separated Angel Gabriel. And see this, if you imagine the middle bit being the soul, and these are 2 bodies, that's what Angel Gabriel is within 2 bodies. And I separated them and gave them back a full soul, which means they are now twice as powerful, which was incredible. during this time as well, I was in a situation where we went to somebody's house of one of Angel Gabriel, and I saw the room full of angels. And at that point, her name's Stefania, and at that point she said to me, I'm feeling strange. So I put my hands on her, and then she started crying, and she said, I can see light. I feel like this isn't real. So she broke through this reality, and then she started laughing because it was such an incredible feeling. It was so divine, so sacred, so beautiful, so light. And she said, I've never felt like this. It feels like I'm on sacred medicine, which she wasn't. So it's happening, everybody. We're breaking through. The gods are breaking through, the angels are breaking through, and so will you. Whether you like it, well, you're going to like it, you're going to love it, because you are light. What's next? Oh, Chichen Itza. So if you go on my Instagram, you'll also see when I was in Chichen Itza. I wish I had the time to edit all of this in. Maybe I will edit it into this, and maybe you'll see the video. So Chichen Itza, it's funny because I was told not to go there. Someone said it was a tourist site. So you see how they plant these ideas into our head. Oh, before I go there, going back to Teotihuacan. After the Temple of the Moon and the Sun, it's a massive site, Teotihuacan. And as we were walking, I said, what's down there? And Stefania, who's been there 4 times, said, oh, nothing, just more of the little pyramids. And then a guy heard us saying, actually, you should go. There's the Temple of the Snake. And we all know that the snake is the mother. And every time Hathor journeyed, she saw me as a snake with snakes coming out of my hair. So I'm like, okay, let's go. But you can see how the angels are being planted and giving us the information. So we went, and it was an incredible sight, but it was joy. And this is exactly what I felt on top of, actually, as we came down off the Temple of the Sun, I was just saying joy, 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 because I felt joy, because that is the frequency of Hathor. That's the frequency of the sun and the moon, which has been blocked to us, which I was told yesterday by chemtrails and other things. Now, when I came down, when we were walking away, so this Temple of the Snake had snakes everywhere, and it was, I knew there was something really incredible about this. And it wasn't until we walked away, Stefania was leading me down the steps, and I said, we've done this before. And I said, I believe I was born here, and you were here to lead me to everybody. And then I found out, because I never do any research on these places before I go, that actually it's the birthplace of the gods. So, after that, we went to the lake. There's so much. After that, Stefania had to work, and so it was me and her mum, and her mum doesn't speak much English, but I've got a translator app on my phone. So she said, look, you can go to Frida's house. And I said, I just want to, I like the ancient sites. I said, let me just Google stuff. So I Googled spiritual places and found that there was some basilica church to do with Mary, and people go there. I didn't read much about it. I thought, okay, let's see this church. So I went with her mum. As soon as I stepped in, I felt some energy in this church. It was quite powerful, but I didn't know what it was. And then she said, her mum said, let's go to the mountain. I said, what mountain? And she said, there's a mountain there. Apparently Mary appeared. I went, okay, let's go. As soon as I stepped foot on it, I got hit by the magnetic energy again. My past came. It was so powerful. Like I was screaming and I couldn't stand up. That's how much the energy, when it hits me, and I'm literally breaking through time. And this happened all the way up to the top. And people were stopping saying, is she okay? And Stefania's mum said, no, don't worry, she's fine. And as I was going up, these ancient spell prayers came out to do with the sun, the moon, and the mother. So I was correcting all that was happening. Got to the top. And finally, I was able to stand up straight. And I went up and I held up the Ankh to replace the false cross with the true Ankh, where Mary was seen. And then to the left, there was a picture of the Pope. And I didn't look at his eyes. I just said, you will not live again and you will die. Because the Pope is not to be here again. He keeps sticking his face into these sacred energies, the reptile that he is. Anyway, he's gone. We're not dealing with him anymore. And that energy, they're gone. watch the news. And then I felt amazing. Came back down, and as I'm coming down, there's just white butterflies everywhere. It was incredible. And then there's a big statue of Mary where she's standing on a black moon with the sun behind her, and there's a man or a child holding this up, holding Mary up under the moon, which would be Allah, and the moon would be Hathor, and the sun. And Bastet, she is Orm, which created the light. And Mary is addressing these indigenous people. They're all indigenous Indians. And she appeared 4 times, and she appeared to a guy called Juan Diego. And again, that struck me because in this lifetime, I have a cleaner called Diego, and he's here with me again. And the funny thing is, Juan Diego was Mary. When I was Mary, I appeared to him 4 times and told him to build a church and a temple. And my Diego, the same Diego in this lifetime, helped me build my temple. So it's the timelines are incredible. And then I went to the temple, which basically looks like this. It was on a shape like the Merkaba shape, 2 triangles. It was just incredible. And then there was the dove and the sun inside. So I was picking up and dropping off codes, activating and correcting the past there as well. And the final part is Chichen Itza. And in Chichen Itza, again, the way this happens is my body is in divine order, and I was told not to go there I wasn't going to go because someone said it's just a tourist attraction. And then I had a few more days left, and I thought, you know what, instead of sitting on the beach, go to Chichen Itza. It's one of the wonders of the world. You might regret it. So I hired a car on accident on the Sunday, was going to just drive around, and I thought if I go, I'll go on the Monday. And I woke up on Sunday, normal time, and I wasn't going to go because, again, on TripAdvisor, it says don't go on a Sunday because it's full of tourists. Anyway, like tourists and locals, it's a busy day. I went to breakfast, and my body just said, go, 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 go. My body was saying, go to Chichen Itza. I'm like, what? It's late. It's 10 o'clock. And go, go, go. Anyway, I went. I drove there on my own. I got there in an hour and a half. It's a 2.5 hour journey. I know how I got there because the angels were carrying me. And as I'm walking up to Chichen Itza, when I finally see it, I just stop and put my hand on my heart. And I cried. It's like I was looking for this over many dimensions and many timelines. And I was there for 5 hours. At that point, I took my shoes off and I carried on walking around Chichen Itza with no shoes. It's such a sacred land. And it's all about frequency, that place. If you clap your hands, there's a sound that comes from the top of the pyramid. There's a room there. So I activated the 4 doors of the pyramid. Earth, wind, air, fire. Also the power of the gods, the 3 into 1, 4. The true frequency. And then I walked around and I was crying when I saw the Chichen Itza pyramid. El Castillo, as they call it, or the Temple of the Snake. So I know that was my temple. But it was more, wow, I'm here, and I can't believe I finally found you, and I've activated it. Then I walked around the corner, and I saw this temple. My reaction, literally, I was like, I couldn't look, and I just cried. I know something horrific happened then. I made a video saying I'm reacting to this, and I didn't know what it was at the time. And again, there was lots of frequency there. Like you shouted at one end and it would appear at the other end as an echo. And they sell you this story to say that it was a place of sacrifice and the Mayans played games there. Now, true, that did happen after the negative energies, the Archons, the Anunnaki took over. They made it a place of sacrifice because they knew it was a place of birth. And it was the place where we made the frequencies that ran through matter. And then what they did, they changed that. They came in and they desecrated our land. I was there for 5 hours, and I have to tell you about the iguana, because I met the iguana when I came out of the Tulan ruins, and I had to pick him up, and I felt beautiful energy from him. And I understand they're protecting our temples now. So I was in Chichen Itza for 5 hours, flew back to London. Now, yesterday's date, I believe, is the 3rd of November. The moon goddess came over, moon and sun goddess. And I couldn't look at her, and it was like, I can't look at you. And she's like, why? I don't know. It's like, I know you more. Then I got hit by energy, magnetic energy. And when that happens, I have to lie down, take my clothes off, and let the true self come through. And she has to, and I give her instructions, touch me here, put your finger here, put the crystal here. And as she put the crystal on my forehead, which is the same crystal I took with me to Chichen Itza and all those places, and activated various portals and points, I started to scream, and I was saying, no, no, no. I was screaming, and I remembered what happened in Chichen Itza. I hate even recalling this story. That was where they put a sword in her eyes, because the moon goddess is full of joy when the moon and sun goddess is full of joy when she sees the earth, when she sees me. And so when she was born as a baby in Chichen Itza, they put a knife through her eyes so that she couldn't see, because then when she sees, her frequency of joy spreads across the earth. My child. And I got the story here, so I had to feel it there emotionally, and then I had to come back and meet with her. She was the final piece, because then I've got the codes and she's got the codes, and they come together in her, and then the story comes out through me. It was horrific, and I was shouting, no, 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 but I had to see it in order to correct it, and I brought her back. Gave back her sight. And she always used to say to me, I should see things, Sophia, I should see things. And now I understand why, because they had taken out her eyes when she was born as my baby. This is how evil they are. And I go back to the video where I said those things, that I shall never forget the lessons of the past. And I am a loving, compassionate God, but not to those who have done that. That was my problem, my compassion and my love. None of them, even if they say they've changed, none of them will go forth again on this earth. None of them will have any interactions with you ever again. They will not exist. And then, as I gave back her sight, which means she can see the earth and be full of joy, which means you will receive that joy. You are receiving that joy now. I then threw the negative energies out, closed off the portal with a code, and I said, no one can open this code, no one can open this portal, not even me. It is done. The truth is here. It's all here. I'm sending you so much blessings and love to each and every one of you. We suffered in the past. You only have to look at the state of our temples to see what they did. But they could not bring our temples down completely. They can't bring us down. We have won, and this will never happen again. And you too are fast coming to the truth. The veils have been lifted. The rest is an empty program which is about to fall apart. And you too are about to rise up in your truth and in your full power. Namaste, Shalom, Salam. I am in service to you.